when you're navigating through challenges. Boy, you'll find that when they're participating, they're not just working for you, they're working with you. This approach isn't about being a good collaborator, it's about being a strategic collaborator. As you align your subcontractors with your mission, you're also aligning them to be part of your future success. It isn't just good for morale, it's good for business. And there is grand delight in working with great subcontractors. Okay, we have to be practical, yeah? Initiatives and strategies are only as good as their implementation. So I would ask you to often take a moment to reflect on your current prime-sub relationships. Ask yourself, what can I do this week to strengthen these important partnerships? Maybe it's a meeting to realign on goals, or maybe you need a casual coffee with someone to understand their challenges better. Small steps can lead to significant strides. One of the things we do at the Partnerships Incubator is to try to showcase our subcontractors' contributions in our quarterly and annual reports to USAID. This can help to give them visibility for the really critical work that they're doing for our project. What legacy do you want to leave as a chief of party as it relates to your subcontractors? I challenge you to let it be one of a leader who sees and stimulates the potential in every partnership. Be known for someone who fosters an atmosphere of collaboration, certainly one of respect and also empathy. Embrace your role as a bridge builder. That's what we are. We have the power to create partnerships that are resilient, that are adaptable, and innovative. And who doesn't need pockets of innovation? And remember here that the best partnerships are those where every single member feels valued and invested in your project's success. Thank you for joining me today in this conversation, and let's continue to turn challenges into stepping stones for progress and results. That's all for today's episode. I'm Dr. Donna Vincent Roa. Have a great week.
Thank you for tuning in to Chief of Party to Chief of Party, Success in Your First 90 Days, your go-to source for insightful, actionable guidance that can shape the success of your project. Let's continue to drive change and create impact, one USAID-funded project at a time. Welcome to Chief of Party to Chief of Party, Success in Your First 90 Days. As you navigate the USAID landscape for the first time or seek to sharpen your skills, we're here to provide the guidance you need to address the unique challenges of this role. Host Donna Vincent Roa, an experienced Chief of Party, will inform and inspire your journey.
Welcome and thank you for joining me, Donna Vincent Roa, for this episode tailored specifically to visionary chiefs of party seeking cutting-edge leadership strategies on establishing a culture of feedback. Imagine you've stepped into the role of chief of party. The air is thick with potential, the team's energy is off the charts, and the mission's clear. Yet, there's one element that will determine the altitude your project can reach: feedback. This episode focuses on not just any feedback, but a robust living system that breathes life into every process of your project. In my humble opinion, feedback is the heartbeat of progress in a USAID-funded project. I talk about feedback often. Why? Because it informs us. Feedback can shape our decisions and ultimately define our success. But how do we cultivate a culture where feedback is not just heard, but actively sought, where it's woven into the very fabric of our daily operations? We have to understand that feedback isn't about pointing fingers. It's about pointing the way forward. It's about an opportunity to unlock potential and achieve excellence. As a leader, your mission is to create an environment where your team and your stakeholders can speak openly and constructively, from interns to consultants to USAID staff to local partners. All of the parties in your ecosystem need to be empowered to contribute their insights, to tell you what's going right, to tell you where you can make improvements. Let's consider a story, a hypothetical one, but grounded in common reality. Picture a project where a team is struggling to meet a critical milestone. Tensions rise, and the usual response might be to push harder, demand more hours, but that's a Band-Aid solution, isn't it? What if instead you called for a feedback session, an open forum to pinpoint those bottlenecks, to explore every angle and facet of the problem? That's where the magic happens. Solutions emerge from collective intelligence, not from the stress of overworked minds. This is where your strategic focus comes into play. It's not merely about collecting feedback. It's about acting on that feedback. You've heard it. Now what? It's the now what that often trips us up. As leaders, we must be agile. We must be ready to pivot based on the insights garnered from our team. But let's be real. Creating this kind of culture, well, it isn't as simple as it seems. It requires commitment and consistency, and also, well, a dash of vulnerability. Yeah, vulnerability. As the chief of party, your willingness to receive feedback sets the tone of your project. When your team sees you not only accepting feedback, but applying feedback, the message is clear. We're in this together, we're growing, we're adapting, and we're striving for greater impact and results. At the Partnerships Incubator, I pride myself on processing feedback from any source and taking action on that feedback within 24 hours, if at all possible. This helps to substantiate and validate our feedback culture, which is critically important, and it shows that I put value in these opinions shared by others, whether it's positive or negative. Now let's talk about recommendations. Start with regular structured feedback sessions. This isn't about an open door policy. That's more of a concept than a practice. It's about scheduled, non-negotiable time where feedback is the star of the show. If necessary, ensure anonymity when it's needed. Sometimes the most valuable insights come when there's no